You're listening to Mixing Mindsets. I'm Andrew Blank.
And I'm Eric Navrosky, and we hope you find some value out of these conversations about lifestyle, music, and more.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mixing Mindsets. Today's topic is about being a new artist. And so to get things going, we have a new artist with us. This is Nick DiMarco. He is branded under Near Tragedy. So, Nick, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good.
Good. Tell us about Near Tragedy.
So Near Tragedy, it's essentially a brand, well, my brand that I'm starting. It's going to be joint music and then clothing. So like you have Kanye and his brand, but it's not the same name. Mm-hmm. You have Swaco and you have, I forget the name of his brand, but it's not the same name, obviously.
Right.
But I'm going to keep them under the same name, so it's easy. You pull up my Instagram page, it's right there. Everything you need to see.
Cool. You're going to be like an all-in-one.
Right.
Cool.
All-in-one
That's
deal.
really cool.
Everything in one spot. But essentially, Near Tragedy, the name kind of means like, it's for people who are living on the edge, like creators, essentially, will resonate with this because a near tragedy is, it could be a complete flop.
Right.
But you're.
I remember you talking about how it's like a risk thing.
Right. Definitely for the risk takers.
Literally, yeah, for the risk takers. Everyone that starts any type of creative field, they're taking a risk. It's either it might flop or you might end up being successful, and it's the possibility of a tragedy is there, and I think that's real sick.
100%.
But yeah, so I think today's topic is going to be about being an artist in today's society. Because we were talking a little bit before about how we wanted to touch on, just for our audience, so you're 20 years old.
Right.
Eric's 28, I'm 27, so there's a little bit of a gap there. Right. And as weird as it seems, in terms of music, things like drastically changed from when I wanted to be in a band versus like you being an artist now. So I think the first question I have is like, what got you interested in music?
I mean, music honestly comes from my childhood because when I was younger, the only thing on the radio was like rock music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Always listening to music and the intros to cartoons. It was always like a pop punk intro.
Okay.
So that really like got me going.
Right on.
What cartoons?
I don't know if you've ever seen the cartoons that I've watched, but like...
I was going to say, because this might be a generational sort of thing.
We have to figure that
10
out.
years, yeah.
I got to think. Phineas and Ferb. Have you ever seen that?
Bowling for Soup. Yeah.
Okay, you know that then.
I know it, but I've never actually watched the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's like the intro became larger than the show itself.
Yeah.
And that was very true for a lot of shows around that generation for me, actually.
What's another show?
Johnny Test was a big one when I was younger.
I know the name, but I honestly don't even know like it to see it.
I was gonna say I wouldn't.
It was a guy
I have
with
no idea what that
flame
is.
Hair.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Oh, man, okay. Yeah, I can't really name.
So I had like pop punk intros.
Yeah,
I know Phineas and Ferb did.
It was like '90s, just straight pop punk.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Well, Bowling for Soup.
You were inspired by cartoon intros, and then eventually like wanted to pick up an instrument or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So one day I had a guitar class in, I think it was 7th grade. I picked up a guitar and I just started like messing around with it, and I actually learned how to play the Jurassic Park theme song on it.
Yes.
Just like sitting there in class.
Right.
Everyone's like, "How do you know how to do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just did it."
Cool.
I go home and my dad has a guitar just sitting in the house.
Right.
He bought it. He was going to learn how to play. Never did. And I picked it up. I was like, I'm going to learn how to do this. So I just taught myself how to play it.
Cool. And that kind of kick-started your interest in becoming, like, wanting to be in a band, or like more so just wanting to become an artist?
I always wanted to be in a band, but with my generation, everybody's so like withdrawn. That's not like a common thing to like have a band nowadays.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a big thing I've noticed is that there seems to be this overwhelming number of artists that kind of brand themselves as individuals, but have that like band sound.
Right.
And I think that's super unique because if you have
Jake Hill,
Josh
A. Do you know these guys?
I know who they are. I didn't know they were like a band though. I thought
They're not.
Well,
Yeah.
no, see, that's the thing. They're not. They're solo guys, I think. And but if you go and you listen to "Dying Lately," I think is the album by Jake Hill.
Right.
There's like
half of
full
that's
pop
like
punk
rock
record.
music.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it's very interesting.
I was literally jamming it on the way here.
I think, it's just, it's very interesting to me because, like, we have a 7-year difference. And when I wanted to start up and start playing music, it was just like, you had the artists going around, but like at the time, I would want to say 2013-ish, it was all bands. Like no one was like no one had like a pop punk or like a rock sound and was just like I'm a solo guy.
Yeah,
I guess that just wasn't the trend. So it's very interesting.
That started as of recently, like when MGK dropped that whole Tickets to My Downfall thing. I think that was the birth of solo artists going rock.
Okay.
Because you had every SoundCloud rapper with tattoos all over their face, covered in tattoos,
right.
going, I make rock music now.
Yeah.
So that also kind of inspired me, because the one thing that kept me away from music was the fact that I couldn't have a band, because I didn't know other people who could play an instrument or, do that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So when MGK came out and was like, I'm doing this, I was like, okay, I'll do
I'm
it.
gonna do it too.
It kind of, so you consider MGK like a huge inspiration from that point of view?
Yeah, musically wise, not really though.
But more yeah, right. Just more so the fact that like, hey, like I could be the single sole face of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool about just pretty much like your artist generation in comparison to ours. I really like the fact that like you can be the face of anything, and genre almost doesn't even matter.
Which was a mindset thing, I think, because like it's not that we couldn't have done this.
Right.
It's not like you couldn't have been the the guy running the show.
Yeah.
But you just always went under this band sort of label versus like a solo guy.
I guess it was just the mentality of society,
Right.
It was just kind of it was easier to group things into boxes.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like that's what that is. We have pop punk, we have metal, we have rock, we have hip hop.
Yeah.
But
and you
now
have bands within.
Now suddenly
you're a singer-songwriter, you're Jason Mraz.
Exactly.
And like those kind of guys, like the acoustic guitar sort of.
It just feels like over the last 5 years, everyone just stopped putting those labels. Those labels are there to help people like
define.
Yeah, pretty much define like what the
verbally define.
Right.
Yeah.
What the genre is, but like when you break into certain territory, there's just a conglomerate of different genres, and I think that's the coolest thing ever, honestly.
Right. And this kind of segues into, if the listeners don't know, Nick, you are a client of me and Andrew's.
Right.
Yes.
So Andrew is a producer for you.
Yes.
I mix and master and also produce alongside with Andrew, and that is kind of what brought you even here, to
100%.
talking with us on this podcast. But so the one thing that I'm really noticing that you and a couple of our other clients are doing, especially like younger ones, are social media is so much more than what I even see it as. And like you talk about your TikTok, and the way that you guys talk about it is so much like a business.
Right. It at the end of the day, it really is a business, because you're marketing yourself.
Yeah.
You're not just marketing like a product. You have to be wholeheartedly who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And that essentially that person who's watching is going to fall in love with who you are.
Right.
Not what you're giving.
Yes.
And in turn, they then fall in love with what you're making.
Right.
Because they like you. But I feel like social media today, it completely changed the game for artists, because you can have anybody go on TikTok and post a song and it completely blows up.
Yeah.
For no apparent reason, just because somebody liked it.
Absolutely.
Or, prior, they just liked
It's
who that
almost
person
like
was.
that's the overarching goal for artists, and like
Get big on TikTok.
Yeah. It's like, let's just get big on TikTok. Who cares about jumping in a van and hitting the road?
Yeah.
Like I could just blow up at home.
Yeah.
And I think that's very interesting how like
so many people.
And it's just it's become the reality, and I think that's very fascinating, honestly.
It
to
is.
kind of look at from that perspective of just like it's anyone's game now.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what status you hold. Like if I blew up, or if Tom Morello blew up,
Yeah.
we have the same chance, and that's the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah. And I guess like that social media is how to utilize it so your chance is a little bit better than the other person.
Right.
And that's when you guys are talking about like the business side of
Your
it.
strategies.
Yeah, and like social
There's a
media
lot of
strategies. Like, oh, I posted this on TikTok and I posted this, and you're seeing what did better, and like how to like keep capitalizing on that, which is very different for me. Like, I don't even have a TikTok. And I'm going to be the stubborn old man that probably won't get one. And I'll tell you why. And I could be totally wrong.
Okay.
But I kind of have this gut feeling that TikTok is going to fade faster than other social media platforms.
Right. I completely disagree with you on that actually
because I'll kill you.
So like when Instagram came out. So
Right.
okay, I'll go back MySpace. Like I wasn't
Right.
part of that whole MySpace generation.
Yes.
You weren't or were?
I wasn't.
Oh, didn't
So-
have MySpace.
What came after
Yeah,
that?
you didn't have
Facebook.
a MySpace.
Facebook.
Right.
Facebook's dying out. Instagram's here. Instagram died out. You might not think it, but it's kind of dying out. In a way, they kind of revived it with the Reels thing, so it's kind of like TikTok. But everybody's on TikTok. Even
Right.
YouTube is like suffering from TikTok because people's attention
Yeah, they're
spans
doing
are
the
just
shorts.
like, so short.
Oh, it's all about attention spans.
Right.
So what about Vine though? Because Vine
Was such a similar concept, but Vine didn't have it wasn't rooted in music, and I think that ultimately became the downfall of Vine.
TikTok rooted in music.
It is essentially
because half
Yeah.
the things that I see now are not music related.
right. I
It's
mean,
a
it kind of
funny,
became
like, stupid
anyone's
video.
platform, but I, to my understanding, I'm pretty sure the basis of it was rooted in kind of like almost like a sing along type of platform, if you will, and then people just kind of started using.
That's why
it
I
for
didn't get
whatever.
on it.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Right, 'cause
TikTok started as like this other app. It was called Musically, where people would lip sync, like you were saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it turned into TikTok, but it's still definitely rooted in music because every video that you swipe on has a sound,
Yes.
and it's either a song or something goofy.
right.
But the main goal as an artist is so that people use your sound, not
Yes.
for necessarily for the video, but for like background music or
Right.
there's
Which
a
is
certain
essentially
lyric.
the hashtag. Like the hashtag was people use your hashtag, it comes up with how many things or how many posts use that hashtag, which is basically what the TikTok is now. How many videos use your sound,
Right.
right? Like it's basically the same concept, just in like a little different packaging.
No, exactly. I think it's very interesting, and here's something I want to touch on. Back in 2018, when when Send Request shot a music video with a WWE guy, his name's Jeff Jarrett.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was sick. He told me one thing that stuck in my head and rings true to music like extremely in today's society. He basically asked me like, what's the one standout factor in your brain when it comes to like being an artist and trying to get yourself out there? And like at the time, I tried to give him like this analytical, like I was on the mind stuff like, well, you got to release singles because albums are kind of going away and blah blah blah. He just cut me off right there, and he's like, no, truthfully, it has everything to do with the impact that you make. It has nothing to do with how your release strategy goes or what your like marketing plans are. If you're able to do anything to resonate with the public,
Yeah.
you're going to blow up. It doesn't matter what that is.
Right.
Like if you're an artist and you just do something like, I feel like Kanye is kind of like a perfect example. Like if you just somehow manage to get into the face of the public, if you're an artist, they're going to follow.
Yeah.
And that always rings in my brain whenever I think about the
Rings. WWE. And then he gave you the people's elbow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, his thing was the guitar.
Oh, that's right,
He
yeah, and then
smashed
he
the
hit it.
guitars over the head.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Sorry.
But anyway, yeah. So I think about that all the time when I think of TikTok, and it kind of goes beyond like a good song. It's more so just kind of like, what piece of this song could I use that people are going to use the sound for, so it becomes funny. Like,
Right.
It's like a
Right.
sound. It's
You're
like a
100%
sound
right.
bite. You're looking for that
right.
7-second
Yeah.
thing.
You need just something that it doesn't have to like. It has to click with the public. It doesn't matter what that is, and when that gets accomplished, it's
Yeah.
the work is done. You're
Right.
suddenly skyrocketing to fame. And that kind of blows my mind, truthfully.
It is. It's very like the way I like to talk about music marketing. I like to compare it to the Wild West,
Right.
Because like you said, how many years ago it was completely different.
Right.
Harder.
Now it's like, now it's
Howdy.
like anything goes.
Right.
You can do anything. Like I was making those cereal videos,
Yes.
and that was working to drive
See?
streams up.
Right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about these videos that you made that you found somewhat of a success for you. So what was the first one? Was it the cereal?
It was just making cereal the wrong way. 'Cause
Okay.
that's like the number one thing that catches like the attention of somebody. Is like
Right.
when you're not doing something.
See, it
that-
had nothing to do with music. It
Exactly.
was just
I
like,
just
I'm
snuck
going
it
to
in
dump the
underneath.
milk outside of the bowl, and everyone's going to like my music. Well, like it works. That's the
Exactly.
craziest thing to me.
right. So I just
So that worked
figured-
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was after that?
After just making it the wrong way.
Well, like in terms of like another video that you found successful.
It took me a while. I actually recently had it. Like that was the number one thing
Yeah.
before this next thing that I did. So I took the opportunity to use I Miss You by Blink-182
Yeah.
and just make a TikTok about it and say, like, lip sing the lyrics and get the where are you part. And
Right.
the caption was like, I forget what it was exactly. It was calling out to all emo pop punk lovers. If
Yeah.
you're seeing this, you know, drop a comment. And they got like 5,000
And they
likes.
swarmed. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody just came in. And then you can
So
pin
what
a
did they
comment.
comment?
You kind of
They were
funnel
just
that.
like, here, you
That's
know,
it?
I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just kind of could take what you could from that audience and funnel it into your own music.
Exactly. And the great thing about TikTok too is because you can pin a comment. So the top comment on the comment section was, you know, go check out my music, link in bio.
Right.
So anybody who went to drop a comment, they just saw it in all caps, go look at my music.
You sneaky little rat.
That's just how, like, it just,
No, I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you.
it baffles me how music just goes far outside of music now in order
Yeah.
to find success.
To be clear, I make jokes, but I think that's like really smart. Like that's
Yeah.
a really smart thing to do. And the fact that you're utilizing something like that and capitalizing on it is an intelligent move.
Absolutely.
You know?
You're doing all the right steps.
Yeah.
And it shows. So,
Yeah, so you're gonna do that with like the next video. So like when you go to make a video like this, you're not even necessarily thinking music. It seems like what you're thinking is comedy.
Not even comedy, it's more community. Like, I
Okay.
just want to bring as many people who are like-minded and like the same things that I like
Right.
into this little circle.
yeah.
So over and over again, they're just going to see my videos in the algorithm, slowly fall in love with what I'm doing.
With the
You
algorithm.
see what I mean? The,
Right.
yeah,
Oh.
the algorithm.
Everyone uses that trigger word.
It sounds like a pirate talking about like the beast of the sea that attacked him. The algorithm. The algorithm. My God.
But yeah, like, just to bring it back full circle, it's baffling to me, honestly.
Yeah.
How music just goes outside of music, because just comparatively, I feel like our generation was pretty much still rooted in the fundamentals of like, oh, you're gonna make an EP or an album,
Yeah.
you're gonna put it out, and then you're just gonna try to market it.
You're gonna
Like,
tour.
yeah, you're gonna tour. You're gonna like,
Right.
just try to reach as many people as you can with your product. It had nothing
Yeah.
to do with like cereal or anything like
right.
that. Truthfully, just comparatively speaking, it's just. But now I feel like if you try to do that, it's just so much more
It's different.
difficult.
Yeah, it's different. And like that shift, I think being aware of it and hopping on board with it, even though it might be like the trend thing or whatever, is just a smarter move, I think,
Right.
business wise.
I think it's just the reality of it.
But it sucks because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, we have that old man mentality.
Yeah, like I'm honestly
We're
noticing.
stubborn, stuck in our ways.
I'm
but
honestly noticing, like I'm not even that old,
Right.
But I'm getting these
There was
these
just
old man mentalities where
Ex-
I'm like I don't want to be on TikTok
Right.
and do that kind of stuff. And I felt the same way about Facebook.
Right.
Funny enough, I was like, why is everyone on Facebook? I was like, my space is fine.
Right.
And then the same with Instagram. I was like, I don't want to get an Instagram. And then I think my first Instagram post ever was like the stereotypical I caved and got an Instagram. And I just, well, like honestly, like thinking about that though, you feel like you caved, like you gave into it. But honestly, if you switch your perspective and your mindset to be like,
This is
it's
new,
not really
this is
caving.
fresh.
Yeah, it's not caving. This is like the way that it's going. So like I'm going to utilize it. I think that's like a much smarter way. And I should take my own advice, but I'm not going to because I hate
really should.
TikTok.
You see, TikTok is just way more than just people dancing. I feel like that's a lot of the things that people
Well, there's
associate.
like I
it
said,
to.
there's that old man mentality of just like TikTok is for the kids. I'm not gonna
Right.
do it. But like meanwhile, there are people making serious careers out of this stuff
For real.
And you're,
I think I know what it is for me. I think for me, there's so much of like, I don't even like social media now. Like I don't want to use Facebook. I don't want to use Instagram, but it's so important.
Right.
And I understand that. But there's this like old head mentality for me that I'm just like, I just want to write music, mix
Right.
and master, and not have to worry about anything else.
Yeah.
But if you do that, you're gonna fade out,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
and it's not good for you. So like, I wonder if the next thing after TikTok, whatever it may be, and whenever it may be, if I can get myself mentally to get to that point to be like, This is the next thing. Utilize it. Like, it might not be something you like, but I don't care.
Right.
You know?
Social media, the way I look at it, it can be a very unhealthy thing if you're on it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
But I kind of use it as a tool.
You should.
Just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to spread awareness for my business and what I'm doing. Like you're
Absolutely.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not easy, because like even when I'm scheduling out posts or trying to do things, I have to think to myself, this is part of the job. I don't like it, but there are people who do jobs where 10 hours they're doing something that they hate. That's part of the job. And if this is maybe an hour of my day or whatever, how long it is,
Right.
and it's the part of the job that I hate, fine. Like, I just have to deal, you know, you
Right,
got to
that's
deal
kind
with
of like
it.
the price to be able to mix and master and
Exactly.
and
It's just
create
you
that
have to
career.
accept whatever that reality is.
Yeah.
And
That's
just
hard.
Be content with it.
And I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
To be totally honest.
No, 100%.
I'm not there
like that's why you still have, you know, guys stuck in like, we need to go all analog. This isn't real
Yeah.
rock music. Those people are still out there and they
Yeah.
still exist, and it just breaks down. And
I don't want to be that guy though.
It becomes a generational thing.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Yeah. I don't want to be that guy, but it's also like, you got to find the balance of when you're that old guy that's trying to do young things and everyone looks at you like,
Yeah, I think that's a
"Ugh."
big thing. You haven't gotten there yet.
I don't
No,
even know if
I've
we've
seen
totally
people.
gotten there.
Yeah, exactly. But it feels like we're getting closer.
Yeah.
I feel like post 25 is when I started to feel like that. I don't know if you
Yeah,
felt the same exact way.
Probably. There's definitely a definitive moment in my brain where I looked at the mirror and I was like, yo, I look old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, it's so funny. I was talking
I'm
to my
like that
sister
now.
about it.
I'm like, I'm
But
20, man.
I don't know, dude. There's just something about like, for me personally, like telling whenever I think of my age, I always think of how close I am to 30, and for some reason 30 is like that scary number for me in my brain, where it's just like, should you be doing certain things because you're an old man now?
Yeah, right? Like, is it weird if somebody who was in their 50s on TikTok making a video or on whatever thing like that you're making? Is that weird because they're older?
It's
Yeah, that's a
weird
very
if
good
they're-
question. I want to know this answer.
Okay, so it's weird if you're doing something that I don't know how to put it. It's weird if you're, say, 50 years old,
Right.
Yeah.
and you're participating in the trends
Yes.
Yeah.
where a girl is shaking her.
Right.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
That's kind of weird. Or you're duetting a video where that's happening. That's where it gets
here's
weird.
a better question, like to kind of like specify it a little bit more, because this is what I'm curious about. What are your opinions on if, say, an older person is trying to build like their own business? Like let's say like if, for example, let's say if there was like a 40-year-old dude trying to do exactly what you're doing, having found no success yet. Is that weird?
It
Truthfully,
really- it-
yeah. Like it, like you
It's different. I see. I
do
think of it
people
as
look
like,
at that and
wow.
kind of laugh, or do people take that seriously? Because
It all
that becomes
depends
a big
on-
question.
It all depends on what you're making. So you're comparing it. If they were doing the same thing I was doing,
Yeah,
it depends
Like
on
the cereal
the
thing.
collective, because it's all a trend.
Right.
Like,
Is the
for
cereal thing
example-
weird if they're 50?
No, I would tune into that.
You would
Hands down, that
okay.
is awesome.
Like, is it weird if a 50-year-old comes up and goes, Nick, your music is lit? Like, is that weird?
If he says lit, then
Yeah,
I'm
see?
like,
That's what I'm saying. And that's
You
part of the
say lit, I
trend.
mean-
So, like, how do you stay relevant using new technologies
Right.
as you're getting
As
older?
you're aging yourself,
probably act your age is what I'm gonna say, because
Yes.
it's-
Okay.
if you're 50 making pop punk music,
right?
You're
That
probably
says
gonna want-
something. You're
Yeah.
either in Blink-182 or you're not.
right. It's like, for example, there's this guy on TikTok. He goes by Andy Negative, I think.
Right.
Okay.
And he's 30 and he's making like pop punk.
Right.
Everybody's hating on him
Right.
because his lyrics are cringy, but that's his thing.
Yeah.
So he obviously has that fan base who likes it, but there's the people who hate on him too.
Okay.
Where MGK, he has those people who like it.
You just have to accept the controversy, if you will, as you get older.
Right, yeah. At
Right.
the end of the day, it comes down to who likes your stuff and who doesn't. Because if you have a group of people who like what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
keep doing it. But if not, if that is not there at all, then don't do it.
Maybe you should
Then
try something
maybe
else.
it's just not.
It was very insightful. I'm glad we got that answer, 'cause
Yeah, there's
that's been on my mind.
Yeah, honestly, like getting older,
Right.
and I know I'm sure there's someone gonna listen to this and be like, "You're not even,
Yeah.
you're not even 30. You're so
Those
young."
whippersnappers
but
thinking
honestly,
they're old.
but there is a reality to just thinking like close to 30, like it's a different sort of energy, sort of different thing
Right.
when you go to approach social media and stuff. You know, it's different for you
I
being
think it
20
also
years
has-
old.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
came, you know, on any social media and was like, yo, dude, check out my song. My music is lit, whatever. And you used all these terms, no one would bat an eye. They'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. That's the strange thing with me. Most of my fan base, on TikTok at least, is people well over my age.
Okay.
So like,
Well,
'cause
you're
I don't,
tapping
I don't
into-
use that I don't
Yeah.
use that like terminology.
Right.
But but your music does tap into a little bit of nostalgia.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, like, and especially as we all write music together, you
We definitely see
like
a lot
Blink
of-
182.
Right.
You like, you know, Sum 41 and all of these bands. So naturally you're going to do that. And it just so happens to be like that When We Were Young Fest. That's everybody me and Andrew's age.
Right.
Right. So like there is a nostalgia play that you're working off of. But I don't know, like, you know, if you look at people like 100 Gex, or if you know who that is, or some of
sure.
these like super new artists, you know, things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get behind this at all,
Right.
you know? But
Yeah, it's hard to believe that some of these newer artists, like, people actually get behind it. Like, I guess because I'm like kind of mentally, I feel like I'm where you guys are with music.
Okay.
right.
I think
Like,
that
I like the older stuff. I'm not really a fan of the newer stuff.
I think that actually creates like a whole different topic, because I've always had this thought process, especially in regards to like the When We Were Young Fest,
Yeah.
of like those bands have never left the limelight, so they've kind of made it difficult for new artists to like kind of rise to the top when they kind of stayed at the top and have just been fighting everyone off. I don't
Kinda
know,
like
and
gatekeeping.
I just feel like that resonates with a couple of different generations. Being a new artist, does it intimidate you even more knowing that they're already at the top, and in a way, like you're trying to achieve their status, but they're still there, and that becomes that's like a frightening thought, knowing that
Right.
like I want to be you, but you're still you.
Right. I see that, but I see more of the bigger artists taking the younger guys in.
Yeah.
And kind of producing them. Like, you have Papa Roach, I believe. Don't
Right.
quote me. I think he's producing Sueco now.
Okay.
And they're like collaborating and doing videos together.
Right.
Jacoby? Is that his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Jacoby. Oh,
Jacoby,
actually,
sorry.
So I like diving into the certain things, and I have my inspirations. I'll let you know that from my perspective, I know Papa Roach is super active on TikTok, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
a massive part of why they're
Still relevant.
still relevant and still very
Son of a gun.
and still yeah. Seriously, it's a huge factor. I know people personally that like Papa Roach has just commented and responded to things. They're just unbelievably active. And I went on rants about Ronnie Radke,
Yeah.
about how he's all over the place because he stays extremely active on TikTok, and he has a Twitch channel and everything like that. They just kind of had that mindset of like, this is what's in, so I guess here I go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just to getting back to what I was saying, I'm a huge John Feldman fan. I don't know if you know who Goldfinger are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
do.
John Feldman is the lead singer of Goldfinger, and he's a producer, and he's actually probably my biggest inspiration as a producer. But Sueco is under John Feldman right now.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I just saw that
Right.
Sueco was doing stuff with Papa Roach, so I
Yeah,
figured
I
they
know.
were-
I know. There's like a friendship and a collaboration type of ordeal, but I know John Feldman had a big hand in Sueco's new album, or with at least a few tracks that he's done.
Right. I'm a huge fan of Sueco. He's tearing it up. He's not really going with the hip hop style anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, he started out as hip hop, but
Right.
he made that transition to rock.
Yeah,
But you even hear in pop punk now, it's like there's a trap beat under everything.
right. That's literally
Kinda
the
like-
nature of pop punk in 2022.
So we've been doing
It's
with
literally
your
what,
music.
yeah. It's the I don't know. It's just cool, and now there's something
It is.
about it, man.
It's interesting, but I noticed Sueco, he completely got rid of the trap beat. He's
Mm-hmm.
just straight rock and roll now.
That's awesome.
So it's like, it's good to see a transition. We're getting away from like the rap.
Right.
And we can
However,
go
though,
full
I
rock
know
and
I
roll.
know in like a lot of the lyricism, there's still like that hip hoppy
hip-hop
type
flow.
of sway, you know. And I think that still stays relevant. That's still what keeps it relevant. And I think that's really cool. And I think you kind of do something extremely similar to that.
To be honest with you, I don't know what I just kind of get on the mic and do my thing. I don't know what
I
I'm doing,
understand.
man.
I think you have like this very hip hop pop punk appeal, And I think a lot of people resonate with that because it's just a new sound. And so it feels fresh, and there's something very satisfying about creating that.
Right. The way I look at it, it's like when Limp Bizkit kind of came onto like when they first came onto the scene. Like obviously that's before my time.
Right.
But like it was new. It was new metal.
Literally
right?
new metal.
Yeah, new metal.
And everyone was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And they have this huge cult following now.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of what pop punk is turning into.
Essentially,
like
it's
like a huge cult
it's kind of
following, but now
rooted in nostalgia and like modern music production.
Yeah.
100%.
The crossover of it.
Yeah.
The melding.
Yeah,
Of nostalgia.
it's something like this feels comforting in knowing that I've heard this before, but it's new because
it's fresh.
Yeah, because of the production value.
Yeah, basically. So like with you, what is your, we'll say 5-year goal?
5-year goal? Probably to have the brand completely set up.
Okay.
Have some amount of awareness around it, and probably have an album out.
How about musically? Like besides just like an album, and I know trends change and I know things shift, but let's just say passion wise, like are you going to try to be making music like this for a while? Or do you think that you're going to try to break out of that and do something else? Or
it depends on really, because I hate to say it, because at heart my favorite genre ever is pop punk.
Right.
But if it's a trend now, and that kind of upsets me. That's a trend because then it's like,
because when it's no longer a trend, it suddenly will make you feel irrelevant.
Right. Yeah. But
are you going to still do it because you love it?
Definitely. Yeah. But it's going to be more. I feel like if it dies out, I'm going to go more towards a 90s grunge type thing.
Cool. Interesting. Just for fun, or just like, or do you think that that's going to be the next thing?
Or is it a combination of the two?
I don't know. It could be. You never know what the next thing's going to be, honestly.
True.
Exactly.
But just from my own personal taste and what I love, I just love rock music. So
yeah.
You're always going to be a rock and roll guy.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. So like from that era, give me a band.
From what, like the 90s?
Yeah, like the grunge era. Something that you're like, I really respect this.
Pearl Jam, 100%.
Interesting.
Okay.
Is it Eddie Vedder? Is that his name?
That's Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder. Interesting. I didn't expect that actually.
I'm not the biggest Pearl Jam
Yeah.
guy, but I love their biggest hits. I have never dived deep on the Pearl Jam train, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for that band for some reason.
Yeah.
I always think of
Well, they're huge.
Exactly. Well, I mean, they're larger in life.
Yeah.
It's so weird because I was actually on the same train as you. I was literally waiting for Nirvana.
No, I'm not.
It was basically anything but Nirvana. I was okay. Here we go.
I didn't expect Pearl Jam.
Me either.
I couldn't
know.
decide between Soundgarden or Pearl Jam.
Okay.
So Soundgarden I would have expected. Funny enough. But yeah, that's interesting. I think like Pearl Jam is very
It's like softer. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's his voice.
There's something very like emotive.
Yeah,
about
but
the
his
music.
voice provides a huge uniqueness, at least in my head, where I think like you either love it or hate it.
Right.
I mean, maybe some people are in the middle, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I know plenty of people that like make fun of Pearl Jam. It's just
yeah,
they
because
kind of have that like Nickelback appeal.
There's some songs where you
Truthfully,
cannot
not
understand.
large scale, but
yeah,
Yeah, there's some songs where you cannot understand what Eddie Vedder is saying whatsoever.
Do you know the words?
No.
Oh yeah.
I'm one of those
Do
people.
you know the
That's
words?
why,
I don't think anybody does.
that's
to be
why I
honest.
said that. I am that person.
Incredible. All right. Well, that's cool. And I think that's cool to like I think there has to be a healthy blend between the things that are the trends, but also the things that you
Passionate
enjoy
about because
and the things that you're passionate about.
yeah, because we touch on that plenty of times, and that's just we literally talk about this all the time. What keeps you gravitating toward music and what keeps you driven is passion alone. I mean, trends come and go, but passion,
Trends are just a tool.
passion's fuel.
Ooh.
Trends are just a tool. TikTok, trends, social media, it's all a tool. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to do what I love and
Oh, yeah.
eventually like make a
I
living
love
off
that.
of it.
I love that thought process.
Yeah.
I never really even thought about that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think that there is an importance to finding fulfillment in whatever you're doing beyond maybe financial success.
Right.
Like I do believe that like it is important and you should try to strive for that using those tools.
Right.
But I personally would have a hard time if somebody was like, hey, we'll give you a lot of money, but you got to do this thing in music that you absolutely hate.
No deal.
Yeah, to me,
No
I'm
deal.
going to be like, I don't know, like I feel like there needs to be some fulfillment
Right.
beyond money.
Yes, absolutely, because
some
that's
kind
going
of
to
thing.
keep you to it.
Yeah.
It's going to keep you satisfied, and because like I don't know, ultimately, if you're in any field and you're given a circumstance that is less than ideal, eventually you're going to be like, I don't want this anymore, and strive for something else.
Yeah.
And it's just that's just how it goes. So I'm just always a firm believer in find what truly deep in your core satisfies you, and
do it.
and just do it.
And just do it. Do it. Yeah, exactly.
No, but honestly, I see where you're coming from. Where with the fulfillment thing,
Right.
For me personally, I was never able to really express myself the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
So with music, it's like I can take my time and do it.
Yeah.
It took 2 months to just get those lyrics that for the song we just worked on.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't happy with what I had because I didn't express myself the way I wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really more of like a self-growth kind of journey.
Yeah.
Through the whole thing rather than just like a career.
Yeah, and
It's more
it
for
probably
my soul
feels
than anything.
Exactly, it feels extremely satisfying knowing that you're being progressive and just literally. It feels like every time that we've seen you, there's been improvement. Like
I'm glad.
and at least I literally I see that every single time. I know you do, and I just hope you feel that way because it's true. And you're constantly getting better, and it's awesome to watch you grow as an artist.
Right.
And obviously,
And be a part of it.
Exactly. And just to be a part of it's a huge deal. And I'm extremely grateful that you've let me into that.
Right, man. Honestly, it's a blessing to actually find people who are into it.
Right.
It's coming from my town, like Tamaqua. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah.
There's nothing, man. There's nothing. There's good culture there. Like,
Right.
It has its own little culture, but
Yes.
it's not like there's no musically, there's
Musically.
nothing.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think that rings true under a lot of circumstances. I mean, I've talked to plenty of people that have that mindset. And I think the biggest thing is just finding that community. Because I know
Clearly you are using social media.
Exactly. Case in point. But yeah, I've talked to so many people that have that like,
Yeah.
I hate this town.
It's so washed up.
It's so washed up. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, I think the fact that we all have come together through music, the fact that you're building a TikTok community, it just feels like you're doing all the right moves, man.
I hope at the end of the day, nobody knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it. Nobody
Right.
knows if they're doing the right or the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it feels right, you're probably on the right track. If you're happy with what you're doing,
Yes.
just keep
As
going.
long as you're fulfilled, that's all that matters.
Right.
I think I said this during one of the earlier podcasts. As long as you're not murdering people,
Right.
If you get
Exactly.
fulfillment out of that, there's probably something wrong there. But
Yeah, maybe you probably got a screw or two loose.
yeah.
No, but using TikTok as a murder of who I
Yes.
am.
There's actually a very dark side of TikTok.
Oh gosh.
I don't-
There's
I don't want-
there's some not good things
I
on
totally figured, but I don't want to know.
it. Yeah.
Oh
Like
my.
you know, anybody can use the app.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like there's, if you're into weird stuff, there's going to be weird stuff.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Glad I'm not into weird stuff. Yeah, I don't really want to know.
Not that I wouldn't know because I'm not into weird stuff. It's because there's YouTube videos.
Wait
that
a minute
describe-
here.
It's like dropping hints to the listeners. If you're into weird
You're into
stuff,
weird stuff.
Yeah, check out my TikTok.
I make cereal wrong. Incredible. Cool. I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I greatly appreciate you coming
Appreciate
on
you
and
being on,
chatting
man.
with us and giving us a perspective from a next generation, basically. Because, like, are we millennials? I think we are millennials at
I think
28.
we technically are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which you're not.
I don't
You're
know
like
what
a
I
Gen
am.
Z or
Gen
something.
Z.
I don't
Oh,
know, man. But still, a different generation that, provides, I think, value in what you're doing because you're obviously seeing some form of success and return on this, which is, what we're trying to do too.
Right.
So, like, I think there's a lot to be learned out of a younger generation.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see. It's interesting seeing things through your lens.
Yeah.
I can say the same for you guys. I mean, you guys have given me countless amounts of like advice and stuff.
Right
It's
on,
like
man.
it trades off.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we all
The younger
complement each other
generations
very
trade
well.
with
Yeah. And I know Andrew and I are a lot about really about self-growth and continuing to be just like a better person and
Right.
so on and so forth. And yeah. So I think it is a mutually beneficial relationship. I think it's awesome. And I think you make good music. I think it's a lot of fun.
Thanks
Yeah,
to you guys.
I always have a blast.
Thanks to you guys. It's
Awesome.
good music.
Okay, so let's wrap this up.
All right.
If you want to check out Nick's stuff,
Near Tragedy.
Near Tragedy, Nick DiMarco. His address is no, I'm kidding.
His phone number,
his
his
phone number
email,
is-
his social.
If you need my social security number,
Just hit him up. He'll give it out.
Near
It's
Tragedy.
on the weird side of TikTok.
Near Tragedy. He's probably going to be absolutely everywhere you could find him, so go look it up.
Awesome.
hopefully.
All right. See you guys in the next one.
Peace.